Business process mining is one of the coolest advancements in business process management. But what exactly is business process mining? That's what I'm going to talk about here today. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're an independent consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world with their digital transformation journeys. And one of the key components of any sort of digital or business transformation is business process improvement. And historically, business process improvement has been managed fairly manually. You have conversations and workshops with people to understand the current state and the future state. And based on that qualitative discussion of processes, you define what you want your future state to be and how you're going to improve your business processes. It's worked okay over the years, but we finally have a technology that allows us to work in some sort of grounded reality that's based on facts rather than just tribal knowledge or what's limited by our own human knowledge. So what I want to do today is talk about business process mining and how it fits into business process management and any sort of transformation initiative as well. And be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm actually going to show you an example of business process mining, including some sample screenshots of what it looks like and what some of the outputs might look like as a result of business process mining. So at its most fundamental level, business process mining is essentially a tool that goes into software that you're currently using. It integrates to those tools to get into the data and the actual workflows and the actual processes that have happened within those systems. So for example, it will look at an end-to-end process within an ERP system or a supply chain system or a HR system, whatever the system might be, and it actually looks at actual data of what's actually happening in that system. So for example, if you have 1,000 employees using a certain system, it will look at how all 1,000 of those employees have engaged with that system, and it'll visualize it and summarize it for you in a way that's based on the actuality of how people are using the technology, and more importantly, how the business processes are flowing throughout the organization. So for example, oftentimes when we're conducting business process workshops, we'll have whiteboard sessions where we talk through end-to-end business processes with key stakeholders and business process owners. This is a great place to start, a great way to get a general framework for how current state and future state processes might look. But what business process mining does is it goes into the system and it actually gives you data, quantitative data on how your business processes are working. And some of the data that you get based on your business processes might be things like your lead time, how long an end-to-end process is taking on average. It'll give you information about variations in a process or workflow. Oftentimes organizations think they have one common way of doing things, but they find through process mining that there's actually dozens or hundreds of different ways that they're executing the same exact transaction. So it's a great way to visually represent and understand what's actually happening with your end-to-end processes. Business process mining also helps you understand some of the bottlenecks in your processes. It'll help you identify visually where your processes are getting stuck and where they're slowing down. It'll identify where the processes might be breaking down completely. Oftentimes processes just get stuck at a certain point, and business process mining will help you identify those areas. And it will also help you identify those business processes that are requiring rework. So if there's quality issues or process breakdowns that are happening, it can help identify what those areas of rework are and where it's happening within the step-by-step processes within your systems. So these are just some examples of how business process visualization works and how business process mining can help you understand your business processes better. Now, business process mining can be used in a number of situations and at a number of different key points in a transformation journey. It can be used early on when you're assessing your current state and really understanding how processes actually work. It could be used as part of a formalized business process improvement initiative where you're looking for the biggest opportunities for improvement. Or it could be used as a key first step in an overall digital or business transformation. So as you look to understand what our current state is so we can figure out how to deploy technologies or process improvements for our future state, it gives us that foundational understanding of how our processes are working today. So business process mining is something that can be used as an analytical tool at key points throughout a transformation, so that you can understand the way things are today. And ultimately, when you deploy new future state technologies and processes, you can then measure to make sure through your process mining tools, they are actually achieving the end result that you wanted. And again, I'll use an example I pointed out earlier, which is if you're trying to get standardization and a more common target operating model within your organization, business process mining is a way to help you identify and validate whether or not you're actually getting that. And more often than not, through business process mining, most organizations find that there's a lot more variation in their business processes than they imagined. There's a lot more breakdowns and bottlenecks than they imagined. So you can see how business process mining can be used at a number of key points throughout any sort of transformation or business process improvement journey. So business process mining is a great tool for business process management. If you're part of a continuous improvement team or you're re-engineering your processes, going through any sort of transformation, and part of your scope is to look at the business processes, business process mining is a great way to enable and really jumpstart your business process management work streams and processes. So again, it could be part of an analysis phase, it could be ongoing implementation of process improvements or technology improvements, whatever the case may be. Business process mining is going to enable that whole business process management discipline that so many organizations are striving for. Another secondary but really important benefit and role that business process management has in any sort of transformation is that it enables organizational change management, the human side of change. So as we look to how we're going to improve our business and where we are today, business process mining is probably the best way I know of to get a realistic understanding of how business processes are actually working. And so you're able to really relate to and understand the reality of what employees are experiencing and what their processes actually look like today. And that in turn leads you to how you can improve those processes and improve people's processes. And in many cases, just help them do their jobs better. If you notice that business processes are breaking down, it may be more of an organizational change issue, not necessarily a technology or a process breakdown issue. Of course, it could be all of the above or some combination of those three things, but in general, it's a great way to help identify how people can better enable transformation and better enable that future state that you're going through. And ultimately, it gives you a good foundation to build an organizational change management plan and strategy on. Now, if you're looking for more information about change management, which is outside the scope of this discussion, I've included a number of links below that cover topics related to change management. And this YouTube channel covers a lot of other topics related to change management, so I encourage you to check out some of those resources as well. So I've given a general overview of what business process mining is, but let's look at a real world example. And I'm going to show you a visual output from one of our clients that we recently went through this business process mining exercise. And just to give you a little bit of backdrop of this case study, this is a client in Asia Pacific. It's a utility and energy company that hired us as part of their digital transformation to help standardize their operating model and really define that future state operating model so that they could deploy technologies to enable that future state operating model. So what we did is we went in with a business process mining tool to sort of validate what we heard in the workshops and understanding how the business processes work today. And in some cases, the data validated what we talked about in the workshops, but in other cases, the data actually refuted or filled in gaps from what was discussed in the workshops. So it was a great way to complete the picture of what that organization was actually experiencing day to day in terms of all their high volumes of transactions and operations within different technologies that they're using. And here's a screenshot of one I'll show you right here. And when you look at this specific output from the business process mining tool we used, you can see that there's a lot of different variations of a fairly simple business process. One that, by the way, the client thought was very standardized, but what we found through this exercise was that it was actually a lot more variation in the process than what they thought. What it also did in this additional screenshot is you'll see that it also identified areas of rework and different steps in the process that were either bypassed or may have been skipped along the way or maybe had some sort of breakdown or hang up in the process. So it gave us a lot of good data to work from to then go back and do some additional root cause analysis of understanding why that was. Was it a technology limitation? Was it because people weren't trained to do their jobs well enough? Was it some sort of configuration issue? We needed to reconfigure the technology, or maybe we needed a whole new technology to better enable that process. But whatever the case may be, it really gave us an important, realistic input into understanding what it is we needed to do to enable better processes as part of our overall digital transformation. And by the way, it allowed us to do that based on facts, based on real data from what is actually happening within the organization, rather than hearsay or tribal knowledge, which is always subject to human limitations. So this is just one example and just a brief overview of how some of the outputs from business process mining can help with analysis. And for more information about business process management and business process mining, I encourage you to check out some of the resources I've included links to below. They cover business process management, change management, transformation, digital strategy, program management, all the stuff that goes into any sort of transformation initiative. I encourage you to check out some of the resources I've included links to below. Be sure to check those out when you have a chance. So I hope you found this information useful and hope you have a great day.